Hello and welcome to Ashes Among Us. I'm Neil. This is
Danny.
and
Jimbo.
and we are three homies that like to smoke cigars and talk a lot of stuff. So
What are we going to be talking about today, Neil?
we are going to be talking about the first cigar we ever smoked and the story behind us smoking that cigar.
I like it.
Yeah.
So why don't we all just light up at the same time?
Yeah.
That sounds like a good idea. What are you guys going to be smoking?
So will be smoking the Ashton Classic in the Churchill size. Yeah, it's been a long time since I've had this, so this is going to be kind of cool to kind of go back and revisit to see where it's at, see where I'm at with it, and see what I remember. What about you, Neil?
I get to smoke two cigars because I smoked two on my first day.
Nice.
So I have the CAO Moon Trance. I don't know if you can see the light there.
Yep.
And then I also have an Ashton Classic. I'll tell the story behind this. There's a little bit of a story. But I haven't smoked one of these in... I think I smoked one like 5 years ago. I revisited. And the Ashton Classic I haven't had for about 10 years.
What about you, Danny?
Well, I have a hard time remembering my first cigar. It was either a Moon Trance, CAO,
Right.
or it was a Lucy Juicy Drew Estate.
Nice.
And this is the, what do they call this? The longer one?
Like the Toro?
No, it's got Juicy in the
J?
title. Juicy something.
Well,
Okay.
We'll look that up and put a caption in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just took off the wrapper somewhere here. This is the Rim. I can't even read it. I'm so blind. Something juicy. But anyway,
Big juice.
big juicy.
Yeah, big juicy, yeah.
Anyway, that's what I'm gonna smoke. Here's what that looks like.
Very nice.
Yeah, I have a good memory of this cigar. It's infused in that it's sweet, but it's not flavored.
Right.
It's just more sweet.
It honestly reminds... So, to me, that kind of predates what you get with the Drew Estate Deadwood series. Like the Fat Bottom Betty, the Sweet Jane, the Leather Rose.
I used to love the Drew Estate. I still like the Drew Estate.
Yeah.
They were definitely gateway cigars for me.
Oh, they definitely are. I mean, honestly, too, like, I feel like, there's so many Drew Estate cigars that are perfect for beginners. Where you go on the flavored side, or where you go more with the lighter,
Yeah.
the lighter wrap sides, especially with the undercrown shade, that cigar's been around for a long time. So it's a great beginner cigar.
It's good. It's better than I remember it being. It's
Yeah.
not bad at all. I don't remember the price point for this, but my first real cigar after a few years of infused cigars was an Oliva V.
Oh, nice.
So maybe in
Yeah.
another episode
Yeah.
we'll smoke our first real
Right.
the cigar that hooked us.
Right.
The cigar you fell in love with.
So for me, like this, I'm, first few draws, and it's just like anything else. Your first try of something, regardless of whatever it may be, you associate that certain first experience with certain memories. Am I right? It's like for me, I can just remember just being down south, and it, I'm instantly reminded of just a nice, beautiful day. It's just slight breeze. It's probably in the mid 60s. It's just super comfortable, super, just a super nice day, and I remember the first little bit of this, picking up some flavor notes. It's very woodsy.
Woodsy.
Woodsy, yeah, which is interesting enough for, especially for a Connecticut wrap, but I'm still getting that creaminess, that creamy butter, that you get with a lot of your standard Connecticut wraps. But yeah, I just remember at this point, I still don't know what I'm doing. The first time I had this,
Yeah, what made you want to try a cigar?
Well, it it really happened by no fault of my own. It's just like it's like everything else. So I was with a buddy of mine and we were playing golf, and he's like, "Hey man," it's like look, he pulls two of these exact same cigars out of his golf bag, and I'm like, "Dude, what are you doing?" He's like, "What is that?" I said, "It's cigars." He's like, "You gotta try one." It's like, dude, I've never smoked a cigar before in my life. I don't have any business smoking a cigar. I had just quit smoking cigarettes cold turkey a year before. So what business do I have smoking a cigar? He's like, "No, dude, give it a try. You find out, it's a fun experience. You might actually like it." I'm like, "All right," you twist my arm enough. So,
I didn't know any cigar smokers when I started. I just went into a cigar shop. In my case, it was Stokey's down in Spanish Fork, and just said, "Hey, I want to try a cigar.
Right.
Tell me what I should get." They pointed me in that direction. The infused stuff, right?
Right.
Wait, they suggested that?
Yeah, just because I was new to it. I'd never smoked a cigar in my entire life before. So I had some guidance, but then I was the one being a bad influence to all of my friends.
So then you took a bunch.
I got them all.
That's how it happens. Exactly how it happens.
I think we should get kickbacks from at least from Drew Estate, because I gave a lot of those cigars away to people that loved them.
Right.
What I love about these Drew Estates is that you get all that quality of a good wrapper. There's a lot of infused cigars where they just seem really flimsy,
No, I agree. But that's kind of like, to me, you kind of said it right there, because there's a huge market for the infused cigar side, and every once in a while, like I get in kind of the mood, like I want a nice flavored cigar.
Do you?
I do. Like
the coffee flavors.
Coffee flavors.
Like the Drew Estate tobaccs. The tobaccs are fantastic.
Cafes.
Yeah. So
me and my wife
all right. You're right.
So for me, I kind of feel like this is a pigeonhole. Like, are you you're getting the infused flavors, or are you getting a cigar that's going to have quality control issues? Is it going to come unraveled?
Mm-hmm.
Is it going to stay lit? So that's where it's really neat, or it's really interesting for a lot of manufacturers who do the infused cigars that don't skip on quality.
Yeah, I agree.
That's still, that's huge for even in that market where you're not sacrificing anything. You're getting a really good cigar at a really good price, but you're also getting those nice flavors that whether it be coffee, whether it be liqueur, whether it be vanilla, whatever the flavor profile is. It's really interesting to me how manufacturers still do not skip on quality, even on the infused cigars.
Yeah, it seems to me like early on the infused was like, here's tobacco that doesn't have any flavor on its own. You can't do much with it. So let's add the infusion so we can sell it.
Right, that's right.
And then
how's that Moon Trance treating you?
it kind of fits in that category. Sorry, CEO, but it has like a big sweetness up front, and then there's no flavor after that. Like you get the initial puff of flavor, and it's like
isn't it kind of have a coconut thing to it, or a?
It's like a lot of bourbon vanilla.
It's like a vanilla.
Yeah, vanilla.
Yeah,
it's more like the bourbon vanilla.
My favorite was always these little tins. It's kind of a fancy packaging and a total waste of.
But you know what?
Aluminum.
Too,
that's what sells them, though.
I was just gonna say that the packaging, especially with tubos, the tubos are extremely attractive, regardless of what cigar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's just the way that I think, especially with cigar, it's not a myth, or it's not an old tale by any stretch of the imagination, because you hear cigar smokers say all the time, what initially draws them to a certain cigar is the presentation.
Yeah.
It
is true.
I'm a sucker for that. Opus X from Fuente, I see a gorgeously wrapped Opus X with that gorgeous presentation with the band, the colors, everything about it. And I'm going to try that cigar.
I'm a sucker for the Leaf by Oscar.
Oh, they're fantastic.
Wraps. A lot of people don't like them, but I think they're I think they're
I
awesome.
love them. That Maduro
It's one of my favorite cigars.
Yeah, the Maduros, when Oscar first came out, they were. I knew very little about the manufacturer, and I had tried them, but didn't really know enough about to make a decision where I liked them. Well, fast forward to just this past summer, I had an opportunity to try them, and I was like, okay. It took basically the third time I ever had one. Like, this is a really, really, really good cigar. It holds together well. The burn is really good. The construction is absolutely impeccable. And the flavor profile is, for a nice Maduro, it's not so overly strong.
No, it's so smooth.
It's so decadently smooth.
Yeah, it's a very
And I like those Maduros that don't just continuously just punch you in the jaw.
I agree.
What about you, Neil?
I like a balance. I went through a phase where I wanted that full body spice. That's all I wanted. That Nicaraguan punch you in the face. I want to taste the cigar.
Right.
And then I kind of got burned out on that. And it's I kind of want something that's more a little more balanced. Has maybe a little bit of spice, but a lot of like cream and woodiness underneath it.
Right.
A little more medium bodies.
You didn't say how you started.
Yeah. If you guys want to hear the story.
I do.
I want to hear more about this golf story too. But yeah, so for me it was I started smoking Black and Miles with my coworkers. We were door-to-door sales in the Tex, but I would smoke Black and Miles every night. So I just hung out with that.
That's the charm.
Yeah, pretty much. And at the end of the summer, it was my birthday. And I finally, I was 22, 23. So the first time I was kind of making my own money. And I was like, I want to buy me a big, fat cigar for my birthday celebrate. So I go into the cigar shop. And I did a little bit of research online. But not enough, because I'm like, oh yeah, I want those ultra premium flavored, get those exotic flavors. Those are the best, right? And the guy at the cigar shop, he was a great tobacconist. He's no longer around here in Utah, but he was a legend at the time at Genie Cigars. And he was like, yeah, here's our flavored cigars. Here's some of the popular ones. And it wasn't this size. It was like a shorter, fat one, but I couldn't find them anymore. And then after I picked out a bunch of CEO flavors, he's like, well, if that's, if you're new to cigars, he definitely picked up that as a newbie. He's like, I suggest you try when he walked me to the other side where the real humidor was. And excuse me, he was like, try one of these. And he picked out an Ashton Classic, the Magnum, the 6x44. And thank God he grabbed that.
Nice.
So I smoked the CAO before dinner, and then after dinner I had the thing, and it felt so strong compared to the flavored cigar. Although it's this is definitely not a super strong cigar.
No, but it's a big leap.
And I remember I only had time to smoke half of it, so I put it out and put it back in the bag, and then finished it the next day.
Oh, man.
That was a little bitter.
Yeah.
But
way to power through though.
You probably didn't notice as much as you.
No, I didn't.
know.
Exactly right.
But yeah, then I smoked CEO flavors.
I remember thinking that. I'm going to save half of this for later.
Oh, so many times when I'm with friends that are non-smokers.
Newbie move.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, let's go. I'm like, let me finish my cigar. Can't you just put it out? No.
In fact,
I just lit up this $15 stick. I want to finish it.
In fact, the first time I got a really big cigar, I thought, okay, I can get a small one, or I can get a big one, and it costs twice as much, but it's 3 times as big, and I'm going to get 3 times the time out of it. I'll just save it. it.
It was kind of like, that's a good, interesting point too, because when we all collectively started at different times, and it took us a while to kind of to learn the industry and learn about tobacco.
Absolutely.
And there's a lot to learn every single day. So for me, you kind of bring a good point, because when I started out, after I had this Churchill, I kind of...
So wait, he gave you the Churchill Classic on the golf course?
He gave me this same cigar on the golf course.
That's a long smoke. How many holes? Is it only 9 holes?
How long did it last you?
So that brings also a good point. and I'll get back to where I was going before, but so...
Before you do that, I just want to show what I'm saying about the quality of this, even though I consider this to be kind of a beginner cigar. Just look at the ash on that.
That's an impeccable.
Look at how that holds.
Yeah. Right.
And beginners may not always know that that's
the first true tell sign of a very well made cigar.
That's what you want. Sorry.
So, no, you're good. So here I am. I'm at a golf course. I've already got peer pressure. You kind of succumb to the peer pressure right there in the spot. Because what you could do, if you're a red, a man never says no to a challenge.
Well, geez, let's be careful here.
Okay. So
real men never say no.
Okay, be that as it may. So I'm going to succumb to peer pressure right there. Like he hands this to me, he's like, dude, you got to give it a shot. Like I smoke every time I play golf, and it enhances the overall experience. I'm like, cool, we twist my arm, and let's get one thing out there. I'm not the world's greatest golfer. I don't want to pretend to be. I do good to shoot.
I suck.
I do good to shoot maybe 90 or 100, and I consider that a good day.
I played once and haven't been back.
So yeah, I haven't been, and I couldn't tell you how long. So we're walking around. We got this fantastic smoke in our hands. Like I am just in complete awe the whole entire game and I had to keep relying a few times, obviously, because you're playing golf. Like I didn't always keep it lit. I'm learning how to smoke a cigar properly. Anyways, we get to about the 17th hole, and I'm like, by this time, I'm pretty much down, pretty close to the nub.
Mm-hmm.
And, I do good, I power through it, and I remember thinking to myself, like, I told my buddy, I was like, dude, that was a really fun game. Like, that cigar, like, I could see myself getting into this. Like, I like it because I don't inhale.
Yeah.
Which is the first thing that he told me. He said, don't inhale. So thank goodness he gave me the advice. But, it was a very pleasant experience. So that kind of brings up to where, like I was saying, like I get back home and I'm already spoiled because I just smoked a Churchill.
Yeah.
That's my first cigar I've ever smoked.
Is it as good as you remember?
It is. Like, I definitely I like this. I could definitely see myself actually buying some more of this.
I'm kind of feeling that way with the
Big Juicy.
The Big Juicy.
Yeah. So.
I need to add this back into my rotation.
Exactly. That's where I'm at with this. So, I go back to my shop back home, and I'm like, hey, you have any of those Ashens? I said, yeah, we got tons of them. Which one do you like? I said, I don't know. So I got to look at it because I didn't know. I knew the name was Ashen, but I didn't know what it was called. Is it called I didn't know it was called an Ashen Classic Churchill. I just knew it said Ashen on it. It was had a white band on it. He said, well, which one have you smoked? I said, can you just point them out to me? Because I don't know the name of the Vitolas.
Right.
I didn't know there was a word Vitola.
I didn't even know Vitola.
Right. So, I'm still completely new to this. So he's walking me through all the faces, the Ashens. And they've got Robustos, they've got Toros, they've got the Coronas that you had. They've got little, petite Robustos. They're almost like a Rothschild size.
Oh.
I've never seen those before. Then they had, sure enough, they had the Churchills, and I'm going through all those houses, I'm like, that's it. And he's like, wait a minute. The guy at the shop was like, that was your very first cigar? I was like, I laughed. I was like, yeah, that's absolutely it. He's like, wow, that's a lot of tobacco for a first-time smoker. He's like, do you want that same size? I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
You tell me what's the difference.
For me, the first time I smoked this cigar and the hundreds of cigars that followed, the thing that struck me about smoking cigars was that it was a very solitary, tranquil experience.
Oh, absolutely.
I didn't have a large group of friends to do it with, but it always meant being outside and disconnecting from work and disconnecting from computers. And for me, I loved the smoking experience, but the real habit was just about doing something where I could just not do anything else.
Exactly.
Does that make sense?
No, it definitely does.
And I think a lot of people are like that because it's hard to disconnect.
Yeah, I've always described it as close to meditation. It's taking time to sit down and just slow down.
Oh, I agree.
You know? People are like, "Oh, your cigars last how long?" I'm like, "That's what's good is they last long. It's not quick fix and done."
And that's not that doesn't come natural to me to slow down. Right? And that's why it's a great hobby.
And I can correlate what you're saying, Danny, with it's basically not so easy for you to just slow down.
Mm-hmm.
Like for me, particularly, so I come from a small town, born and raised, and
where again?
In Alabama.
Yeah.
So we had plenty of opportunities, we had, a couple of shops that I would frequent. And the weather was all, unless it was rain or unless it was too cold, 9 times out of 10, you can go sit in your back patio in the small town where I was from, and you could light up a cigar.
Yeah.
So that to me kind of ties in with how slow it was back home. Because it was a small town, everybody and everything moved so slow.
Sure.
Moved a lot slower. So for me, that was that's kind of what pushed me. I think another reason why I got into cigars is because I had time to kind of sit back with the way things were moving so slow.
Sure.
And I could sit down for an hour, an hour and 10 minutes, whatever time I wanted.
Yeah.
And I could sit out on my back porch and I could smoke a cigar, and that was my alone time.
Yep.
Nowadays, I kind of feel like I'm going along with the pace of being in a bigger city. Everything moves so much faster. I still have that tranquil kind of, alone time, like you were saying. But I can definitely tell, it moves with the pace of the city. If that makes any sense.
It does.
So it's interesting to me how things like that kind of correlate to the cigar smoking.
Yeah. I totally get it. Before I forget, I had a quick story about the Drew Estate and some of the CAOs too, because when I started smoking and I was traveling a lot, so I carried one of those tins around, like the Moontrans tins.
Yeah.
Drew Estate has a whole line of them too, but they're great for traveling.
They are.
And I dropped a couple in a friend's car once visiting a friend in Wisconsin, and he'd never smoked before, and I didn't even try to get him to smoke, but he called me a week later. He's like, I found those cigars you dropped in my car, and I smoked them, and I went and bought a ton, and now he's a top shelf. He got there faster than I did.
Wow.
He's got a huge homemade cedar humidor in his living room, and hundreds and hundreds of.
He's full blown.
It's full blown.
We've all been there before.
It's full blown, and it's all my fault.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what's great too. It's really kind of cool because the more I started going back to that same shop back home, the more I noticed that my circle of friends was growing.
Sure.
How many times have you walked into a shop and you just feel like you're part of the family right away? Because
well, that's why we're friends.
Every time, we all met at our local shop, and
yep.
I always tell people that's the coolest thing about cigar smoking is, I like to smoke when I'm alone, and wide at home, but it's the people that you meet. There's this unspoken community amongst cigar smokers, and I have a sister in Texas. Every time I visit her, and sometimes it'll be years in between, I'll go to the cigar shop, and everyone still remembers me.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, what's up, Neil? How's it going? And I'm like, hey, what's up? Yeah. And, they're just, you just feel like family instantly. You can just sit down and have a conversation with strangers from completely different lifestyles.
Yeah, exactly.
And something about the cigars just removes all the barriers. You can just really open up your mind.
I think it's part of the motivation for doing a podcast, too, is that there's a lot of people that don't have anybody to smoke with. They
exactly.
smoke alone on their porch.
Right.
We're in Utah, and so there's pockets of people who might smoke, but in
there's
general,
no cigar lounges here.
Yeah, there's no good places to gather, and so when we get together to smoke, I'm always thinking, man, it'd be nice if others had more of a social experience when they are smoking.
Right.
And we've talked about maybe doing a Zoom thing where people can all join live, and I think we should try that at some point.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I think it's like the cool thing about the movement here is, first off, for those of you that are tuning in, Utah isn't exactly the most cigar-friendly state.
Understatement.
Not to stray you away from if you're coming up here to visit, you definitely should. Like, you definitely should.
No, stay away. Don't come to you. Just kidding.
No, not coming to Utah.
Kidding.
No, like
stop by Beehive Cigars.
Mm-hmm.
They will. They'll steer you right.
Yeah,
absolutely.
They will. So, but either way, like if you're planning a visit to where you're coming to ski or you're just getting away, definitely come check out Salt Lake City. There's a lot to offer. Several or every type of individual, whether you're into cigars or not. But outside of that too, so yes, like it's no secret that Utah is not the most cigar-friendly state. So for us three individuals right here, like for us to, number one, we're putting this podcast together for you guys. First of all, it's Utah's very first podcast just about cigars, which is really neat, which is absolutely groundbreaking. But at the same time, like we all three come together, for to hang out, smoke cigars, talk about cigars, music, life, everything in between, and it is a rite of passage for us because we don't have this opportunity anywhere else. So for us to be able to come together, with all three of us have such different schedules, we'll have this, this once every 2 weeks or whatever kind of opportunity to get together and smoke. We relish the fact that we get to do that because there's still a lot of people who don't have what we have.
Well, and what was the origin of this podcast?
Yeah, that's actually what I wanted to touch on.
Talk.
We were just basically smoking cigars, sitting around and having conversations. But it was kind of like we were talking about, like how you're like community. You can go to any cigar shop or you come across a cigar smoker at a bar. You can instantly. There's just like this. There's not as many barriers. You can sit down, talk to them.
Right.
Put down your phone, connect in real life, and we just have all these cool conversations.
We do.
We should just record these and see if other people enjoy them as much as we do.
The other cool thing about being around smokers is that you often don't have a lot in common outside of the fact you all smoke cigars,
Right.
And that means you kind of like going to a bar, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Meet people sitting at the bar.
Honestly, it's a lot like Cheers.
It is.
Yeah.
It's its own kind of social lubricant.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. It's...
Except we don't have that belligerent drunk that just comes through and kind of ruins the party.
Right.
Kind of like our unofficial goal of this podcast is, what we kind of touched on is, there was a period in my life where I lived way too far from any cigar shops. I'd order them online and smoke in my backyard alone. And there wasn't really many podcasts. There was a couple YouTube channels, but they weren't, just full-on casual conversations. So just to have someone who could sit down and feel like you're in the room smoking and just enjoy the company of those cigar smokers. And hopefully we can do like live calls and stuff.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Zoom calls and stuff like that where, just connect cigar smokers, especially remote ones. There's a lot of them.
Right.
Totally.
Just enjoy that aspect.
Well, for those wondering too, this is kind of the birth of something what we hope will be really big.
Yeah. What are some of our goals? We've talked about taking requests, people's comments on what they're smoking.
Right.
We can try them out.
For future, one thing that we want to bring to the table is we're going to work on having a social media, Instagram, Facebook. We want to give all of you guys, the viewers, a chance to give us any feedback. We want to do segments, do certain episodes, I should say, where you comment on a post. We'll set up a post. You comment on it, and if you have a cigar that you want us to review, great. We want to hear it. We'll give our feedback and do a review on those.
I look forward to that. I look forward to all smoking the same cigar at the same time.
It'd be nice to smoke a cigar none of us have tried before. Too.
Oh yeah.
If we can find one, none of us between the
Let's
three
do
of us.
that next time. Let's have a cigar
None of us have tried.
including you, Jimbo. You work at Beehive, so
Cigar all day.
you're our resource to find us new stuff.
I can definitely do that.
But you've smoked too many, so you got to find one you haven't smoked that has a good reputation.
Okay, I'm up for the challenge.
Yeah, that sounds like fun. I think that's one thing I love about cigars: the variety and trying to.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think for us too, like I want to take advantage of the fact that for us, for the people, the cigar community in Salt Lake City in Utah, so we want all of you guys to feel comfortable. We want all of you guys to take advantage of this. Maybe there's some cigars that you haven't tried that we're smoking that, look, wait a minute, I've seen that cigar, but I never got an opportunity to try it.
Right.
If that's the case, go out to your local shop, go get one. You're always finding new smokes. You're always finding new cigars.
There's so much variety.
Yeah, there is.
I'm blown away by how diverse
it is.
This has become.
Same here.
There's so many new cigar brands. And on that note, we do have plans. We have some friends in the cigar industry. We're going to have some guest hosts, so stay tuned for those episodes.
Yep.
We got some things planned.
I have spoken to a couple of reps from a couple of companies that would be willing to help us out. So,
and we've got our own new Utah brand that just launched.
Exactly.
We'll definitely have an episode on apostate cigars and get those guys in here.
Yes,
we should wait to smoke they have a new Candela. It's supposed to be Brandon, the guy behind the scenes there.
But nobody knows when it's.
But none of us have smoked it yet, so let's smoke that on the show. But anyways, let's wait. Agreed.
Yeah, of course.
Let's smoke that one.
Well, I will go and say this, so
because I haven't tried.
That's a great one to do.
I don't know when they're shipping.
If you are in the area and if you are watching this, Beehive Cigars will be hosting an event, launch event actually for Apostate Cigars, actually this coming Sunday, from noon to 6,
which is the
23rd. So if you're out in the area, if you get to view this, definitely make it worth your while and come check it out.
Yeah, I'll be there.
There's going to be deals. There's going to be cigars. You'll get a chance to meet the owner and VP of Apostate Cigars and kind of a chance to pick their brain and to get the story behind Apostate and so much more.
As a preview, if our viewers don't know, the 3 launched cigars by Apostate are the Deseret, the Liahona, and the Initiatory. Those words might not mean things to a lot of people,
but they will.
But
they will.
Have Brandon on. He has.
But they're Utah.
Yeah,
they're Utah. They're going to be familiar to a lot.
Yeah,
of people.
definitely. So I mean, you'll definitely learn the 3 names. You'll learn the 3 wraps they have. They have a Connecticut, a Maduro, and a Habano.
And let's save all that. Let's not get into it.
Right.
We just want to preview.
We'll get a good Apostate coverage.
Point is, we've got a lot of stuff to cover.
Yeah,
talk about.
We're very excited to have this opportunity to present to you guys something very fresh, very new for the state of Utah. And one point I should add too, it speaks volumes and magnitudes. The fact that the entire state of Utah is not the most cigar-friendly state, but yet there's such a huge market. The market is completely overwhelming. And the thing about it, too, it's not saturated at all.
No.
It's not completely saturated.
Plenty of room for innovation and new stuff.
I can't tell you how many different states I've been to over the years. And, you got to go check out this cigar shop. And you got to go check out this cigar shop. They're going down to Nashville in a few weeks. And there's cigar shops at every corner.
The apostate guys?
Sounds
No deal.
No,
you
for my
yeah.
day job, I got a trip down there.
Oh, cool.
But definitely every night go to the cigar lounge.
Which is really great to see, you know. And there's nothing wrong with like, I feel like at all those shops, like everyone is still like relatively like, oh, you have a shop? Well, I have a shop. Well, I have a shop. Well, I have a shop. Well, great. Right.
But when I roll into a new city, it's always first thing I do is pull up the app and try to figure out where's a good shop, and better yet, where's a good lounge.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the first shop.
And sometimes I even plan my trips around the lounges that I really want to visit.
Yeah, right. There's not. I mean, that's the whole experience, you know.
Everywhere I travel to, I always want to try this.
Just an update. Look at this again. Like, I'm not far into a Churchill, and the construction. I mean, you can see like, well, it's really good quality. It's a good slow burning smoke. I don't feel like I'm rushing this by any means necessary.
I mean, I'm still going.
Yeah, I'm getting some white pepper.
I feel like the woodiness with white pepper and a little bit of cream.
I'm still going on this big juicy. I mean, it's a 40-minute cigar.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like a 40-minute cigar.
No, it don't.
But it is.
Right.
And I'm a fast smoker. Never good at that.
One thing I want to touch on that we've kind of gone over is, if it's not apparent by now, but like, especially if you're new to cigars or you've been smoking for like 10, 20 years, don't underestimate the value of if you can get to a local cigar shop and talk to the tobacconists, people that are paying attention to what's new that's coming out or what's been around.
Right.
You know, they know what's been sitting in their humidor for 6 months and smoking like a drink.
I love that.
They can always point you to something really good.
That's an
so
amazing pointer because it took me a long time to realize that. I've been smoking cigars for 12 years now, but for the first 5 or 6, I would just come in and smoke the same things I'd always smoked.
Right.
And now,
you know, like that.
The more experience you have, the more you want to hear recommendations.
Right. Well, you know, for me, that is the most rewarding part of my job. You know, 9 out of 10 people come in like, hey, you know, I really want a good cigar, but I don't know where to start. I don't know what I'm looking for. I said, well, okay, let me make things easier on you. You tell me the budget that you're looking for, and I can kind of pinpoint down for you what I think would be good based on your budget.
Right.
But even outside of that, because even outside of the ones that say they have a budget, say I show them a very special cigar, like a super limited, like, for example, like the Room 101 Nabakubis. They're extremely rare and extremely limited. Like, you know, we're lucky. Like, I can't believe we even have them. You know, we have them BF cigars. You know, I've had plenty of guys come in and say, I'm just looking for about a $10, $12 cigar. Cool. I can definitely help point you in the right direction.
Well, 12 is cheap in Utah. The taxes.
Exactly. That's a great point.
Yeah,
that's a pretty
they
affordable.
end up seeing the box, the Namakubis, and that gorgeous silver and purple wrap, and they see that, you know, just that gorgeous presentation and say, what is this?
Right.
I said, that's the Room 101 Namakubi. Once we sell those, you won't see those again, maybe ever.
Yeah.
They should remind me. I need to go buy some more now.
Well, and that's another. I mean, I love that the cigar manufacturers come out with those limited releases.
Yeah.
You know, the Yagua made all the rage among our friends.
Which I never got one.
Really?
It literally sold out in 2 days.
I'm so sorry.
I have
boxes
experience
sold
on
out.
a limited release. Though.
Sold out in 2
I do
boxes.
too, but I still have some. Because I want to hold on to them, and I'm paranoid about not being able to smoke one ever again.
If I
You're
love
lucky.
a cigar, I want to be able to buy it any time for years to come. I want to be able to buy a box now and a box in a year.
I
And keep
understand.
smoking them, and not have to ration.
Right.
I can smoke.
Oh
shit
no,
out
I'm the
of
same
those
way.
boxes
Like
and then keep going.
I'm pulling out stuff that I bought back in Alabama like years ago, that I still have in my humidor.
But those do end up being kind of almost collector items.
They do.
And we swap them with each other.
You know what?
And we share them.
That actually brings a really good point. The biggest cold classic, most highly sought after brand is not who you think it is.
What is it?
It's Tatuaje.
That was my guess.
Really?
Oh yeah,
We
because
should
people
have
will be
all
buying
guessed.
boxes and They were like, I'm not unwrapping this. I'm like, that doesn't make no sense.
Yeah, Tatawai has become like the penultimate cult classic. There's your Opus X, okay? There's your Opus X.
Because he has the dress boxes.
Yeah, the Monster Series, exactly. It's all the Monster Series. But it's even outside the Monster Series. There are so many limited edition Tatawai blends that people jump their hoops of fire to get their hands on because they know the rarity of it.
I'll say this. I love Tatawais. That was like the first brand I became obsessed with. Where like half my humidor was always Tatawai. And then the other half was my favorite.
I know guys that even have stand-up humidors just for Tatawai.
Yeah.
And it's all full.
But what I was going to finish is like, I love the Tatawais, and I buy a bunch, and I'll sit on them and let them age because they age great.
They do. That's really good Nicaraguan.
Every single cigar I ever buy, I guarantee I'm going to smoke or give to a friend to smoke. I'm never going to like collect it to resell or just have it sit there as a collector.
Right.
I can never do that. People are like, because my friend makes fun of me because I buy cigars. He's like, aren't you going to smoke that? I'm like, nah, I'll just let it sit. I'm going to smoke this cigar that's been sitting for a year. He's like, I don't understand that. I'm like, I'm not a collector.
You know what?
I smoke every single cigar I ever buy.
Case in point.
I'll get to it.
You remember the K222, the pork chop, right? The broadleaf series. So
I wish I still had some of those. Let's smoke them all.
So I remember back in, I think it was the summer of 19. It's like the summer or fall of 19. I had a friend who could pretty much find any cigar that I wanted, and pretty much still can.
Yeah.
And he gets them like the deals he gets.
Pyramids?
No, remember the K222s, the Toros.
They were Toros.
Remember? It's like a 6x50 Toro.
Dude, I smoked through them so quick. Actually, they didn't last long.
Well, that's what that. Yeah. Well, that's the beauty of it. So, I had texted him like months ago. Before he finally texted me back, he said, "Look, I got to leave. I got a guy he's got a handful of the original release of 2011, 7 Kappa Especials, and in 2012, broadleafs. And he's got 5 of the pork chops from 2000 whatever year." I was like, "Dude, what's the price?" He's like, It's gonna cost you $225 for the lot. It's 15 cigars total. I'm like, you know what? On the secondary, like I know exactly the value. I jumped on that right away. And like you, they didn't last long in my humidor.
Now you weren't reselling them as
I wasn't gonna keep them. Like, they're already aged long enough.
They're investing in
you
yourself.
know what? Like, those.
Yeah.
I've never had any cigars that smoked as well. Like, I mean, that might be different now. I mean, because I have smoked some cigars, but then that was legitimately the best cigars I had in my humidor.
Well, to bring my story of my friend full circle, you know, who I got smoking, who has got the big humidor now, he collects, and he'll just send me a few once in a while.
Nice.
And he had 5 Yaguas.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, have you seen the Yaguas? He's like, yeah, we got a box in at my local store in Madison, Wisconsin. And he, you know, had them in his humidor, and he just sent them all to me.
Nice.
So it was an investment in my future to get him smoking.
Right. No, that's what it is. You find a great cigar, and then you want to share it with your friends. And I think that's the funnest part about the community. You know, I would have never gotten a Tatawai for one for my fiance. She sent me we used to send cigars to each other back and forth before I moved up here.
Oh, really?
She sent me yeah.
That's awesome.
She sent me
You should have her on for a guest.
Totally.
She totally loved that. She sent me 10 different Tatawais. And I was immediately hooked. The first Tatawai I ever smoked.
I want a girlfriend that gets me cigars. And I'm single, so I can say that.
So yeah, I don't even remember the first Tatawai I smoked. The Kahonu 2009. Kahonu 2009. I'm from the South. We butcher every word. The Kahonu 2009. It was a fantastic cigar.
I think the last Tatawai I had was Freddy that had been sitting for a while.
Ooh, nice.
I bought that Monster for really spot.
Actually,
I bought 2.
The Monster Mash. I
need to smoke one. And
I wish
one
I wish I would have gotten a box of those.
So yeah, we'll wrap it up real quick.
Yeah, I think 45 minutes is our target goal, and I think we covered our first cigars pretty well.
Yeah, we could talk a lot about cigars in life. For future reference, we're not just going to be talking about cigars. We'll always be smoking cigars, but we have a lot of stuff we want to cover.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Food, pairings, just culture.
And I don't. Did we ever put the name out for people? Did we ever?
Ashes Among Us.
Ashes Among Us is the name. We went from Time Well Wasted to Ashes Among Us. We think it's more appropriate. It's not so narrow. I think Ashes Among Us is more open.
It is.
It leaves a lot more opportunity. It kind of gives you guys an idea as the viewers what are we marketing towards?
Yep.
What are we gearing to talk about?
And the Ashes part's obvious, but the Among Us is the community side of it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And to clarify this, we're not doing this as a business. We're not trying to get rich.
No.
We're doing this for our love of community and cigars.
I agree.
And, just to set a time where we all can sit down, smoke together, and share that hopefully with the world, and hopefully we make some save out. So
keep checking back, guys. We'll post updates. We'll have some social media for you guys in maybe the week or two to come. So be on the lookout. Look us up. Share, and share.
And comment.
And comment.
And keep smoking.
And keep smoking. And stay classy.
Stay classy. Hey, is that going to be our ending buzz line? Stay classy.
There it is.
All right.
Hashtag stay classy. I love you all.
Stay classy. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.